Service Lines community, how y'all doing today? I am Zach. Alongside of me, we got Shayna. What is up, y'all?
It's early.
Well, considering you sent me a text message at 11 o'clock last night, yeah, I guess it is early for you. I was long in bed.
I don't know.
There we go. I got you.
That's that. Yeah.
You're back. Good morning,
I'm here.
Jose. Good morning, Adam. How y'all doing? Good to see ya. Share with your friends. Make sure they know that we're over here on YouTube only. I had Rob Jones texting me. He goes, "Hey, y'all on YouTube only, right?" Yes, sir. As of right after Christmas, we moved over to YouTube only. Just easier,
Yeah.
less mess. It's kind of nice though. If you're watching in the background, like you can minimize it because even iPhone got rid of the stupid thing where they wouldn't let YouTube play in the background anymore. So now you can minimize the YouTube and listen to that.
Hmm.
You're looking at your maps.
See, you're a little too technical for me.
I like being able
I'm
to
just
listen
like,
to it while I'm
oh,
watching the map while I'm driving,
oh, Zach, that's awesome. I didn't know that
See,
you could do that before, but okay.
you could, and then you couldn't, and now you can again.
Yes,
How's that for a trip?
that's amazing.
What are we talking today, Shayna? What are we talking today?
Buy-in.
Yeah, we are talking the law of buy-in. We're talking about how process plays into the law of buy-in. Do you need
Yeah.
process to have people buy into you as a leader or
Hmm.
not? Hmm.
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 We'll find out. I kind of posed it as a little bit of a hot button topic. Shayna's not happy with me this morning. She's like, I love these topics. I have these topics. How about we talk about this? I'm like, oh, yes, I love the way. And how about we look at it? And she's like, you changed my topic.
It's
No, I
okay.
didn't.
I was expecting that. But
But
that
I
was
didn't.
my 11 o'clock at night thought.
But I didn't change the topic. We're still
You
talking.
didn't change the topic. You just
I just said it in an
combined.
inflammatory way.
I gave you three options, knowing that you would do whatever you want.
It's true. It's true. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning. Yeah. Well, I try and give people the power. I try. I'm a little control freak. I You might know something about that.
Mm. But
Hmm.
I also know how you are too, though. So I've
It's
worked with you
true. You were
before.
trying to funnel me somewhere. I think. I think we were both being played. We have known each other a long time, so it does work out pretty well.
Just a wee
Well,
bit.
you want to pray us in, and then I'll bring the scripture, and we can get into your topic here today.
My topic, yes. Okay. Dear God, I thank you for this day and I thank you for the breath that you've given us today. I pray, Father, that as we go out, that you keep us safe, that you keep us warm in this cold time, and that you just help us be able to bless others because you have blessed us. Give us the knowledge that we need. Guide our steps today, Father God, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Feel free to comment along because this is not just our show. We're just here bringing a topic and discussing from our perspective. Go ahead and drop in the comments.
I mean, you can even tell us that we're wrong.
You can. We'll try
Now,
and listen, we promise.
we're both pretty dominant people. We may not believe you.
Maybe.
Maybe. Prove me wrong.
So today we are talking for the Bible verse, Exodus 32, verse 1. So for those of you not familiar, Israelites left Egypt, wandering around in the desert. Moses has gone up on the mountaintop, and the people do what people do. Here we go. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods. Who will go before us? As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what's happened to him."
Hmm.
Hmm. So the people weren't fully bought into Moses, or maybe he didn't really clearly communicate what the vision and the plan was. So that brings up what Dr. Maxwell talked about.
Okay, so I was told I'm having some problems, but I'm showing I'm on my correct thing.
I
don't
did
know.
talking in the background.
We heard talking in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Like
still hear
someone was
talking?
walking through.
No,
No, not now.
I mean,
But it
there's
was like
nobody in
someone
here
was.
talking.
Yeah, it was like
So
someone was
weird.
walking through the office. It was weird. It's very
Yeah.
weird.
I don't know. Well, I'll keep an eye on the messages. I don't know.
We'll watch out for it.
Anyway,
All right.
with the doors shut though, so nobody's in here. So
yeah. So when followers don't like the leader or the vision, they look for another leader. When they don't like the leader, but they do like the vision, they look for another leader.
Mhm.
When they like the leader, but not the vision, they change the vision. When they like the leader and the vision, they get behind both. And I feel like the Israelites were in that first category. They don't like the leader or the vision, or it wasn't clearly communicated what was going down.
Yeah.
And so they said, hey, let's figure out a different way, which didn't work for them. But they weren't bought in, right? So let's talk about the second one, though. When they don't like the leader, but they do like the vision, because this ties into process, and where process ties into buy-in. So he uses the example of NFL teams. What is the vision of every NFL team?
To win Super Bowl.
Right. That's it. The singular vision across all however many teams there are in the NFL. They want to win the Super Bowl. Like that's it. There's nothing else. Would it surprise you to know that almost every single coach in the NFL has the same systems and processes? Like almost to a T. But what happens when a team doesn't win? They change the coach.
They lose.
Well, they lose, right. And they change the coach.
And sometimes they change players.
Yeah, but do they fire all the players?
They don't, but
do they fire the leaders?
The leader players can get fired 100%.
Yeah. Without vision, people perish. Proverbs 29:11. So true, so true. So, you as a business leader, you have systems and processes. Are you that much different from the other office, phone answering, scheduling people in process?
I would say, so we're the type of company that we are is new to the industry. There are others that are out there that have been answering services for forever. But what we're doing is new. I only know of 3 of them to the extent that we do. I would say that we were probably all on the same playing field about 2 years ago. So we were about 2 years into this process. The difference was there's 2 of us that have excelled. I know that my systems and processes have been built. I'm pretty confident the other one that's excelled, because we do have some collaboration with them, has been built. The third one, I'm not 100% positive on it. Because of that, they do have a lot of negative reviews.
So in that,
on both team members and clients.
Let's go back 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because that's about time Andy came on, right? 3 years ago?
When he came into this position, yes.
Yeah.
So
2 years ago,
he's
he
been
came
with
in.
us.
3 years, right. So he's been with you 3 years.
Yes.
And then In the position 2
years.
years.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. Because that's about the time that I stopped using you guys and was going a different route, which didn't work, by the way. Call my office help. She's up at the top. She's over there. One of our sponsors. We love Shayna. But here's the reality. When Andy signed up to come and work for you 3 years ago, you had not the systems and processes in place. Andy's still here. So do processes and systems matter for buy-in?
Well, I think that you can have some buy-in if you only have the good leader. And you can have some buy-in if you have systems and processes. You cannot have complete buy-in until you have both.
Right.
So in his case, he bought into me.
Right. You saw the vision.
Mhm. And then thankfully he is the systems and processes guy. And I bought into him. So we had this mutual buy-in. And then he started building those systems and processes that, like, we started creating them 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And it was absolutely amazing. So it was 2 years in October when I read the book Traction, and I put some basic visions in place, to which he went with. And then he started just building everything underneath that. He redid it this year at the 2-year mark, and it was absolutely crazy, the difference in where I thought that we might be in 10 years and where we actually truly can be in 10 years, just because we had systems at this point. We have data. We didn't have that before. We were just sort of like,
Right.
I would like to be here. Now we have data because we have systems and we have processes, and we're able to actually track and see where we're at and how we've grown. And it's absolutely amazing. And because of that, like, my team knew a little bit of the vision before, but with every single step that we've gone, we've been able to accelerate it even more.
Would you say it was easier for people to buy into you 2 years ago, or it's easier for people to buy into you as a leader now?
Oh no, 100%. It's much easier now because the platform, our vision is now on the wall.
Mhm.
And when someone comes in, we're like, where do you see yourself in this massive vision? Where do
Mhm.
you see yourself in the year 2032, which is what this is? And so we get people thinking about, I would love to be here. Okay, so now what do we need to develop? What do we need to put in place? What do we need to help you with to get you to where in 2032 you're where you want to be? And some people want to stay CSRs. Some of them want to move up into management. Some of them. So it's been an interesting turn, even in this last year, the last 6 months, really, of even more so buy-in, like having those meetings and saying, here's our next 6 months. This is what it looks like, and having jaws drop, like, really? Like, we can do that here in Southern Illinois where nothing happens?
I knew I was going to drive Andy crazy, by the way.
Oh, hold on.
I did it on purpose. It was very inflammatory on purpose because I believe that you do need systems and processes for people to fully buy into what you're doing. But you don't need them initially. You really don't. You don't. But then you have to very quickly progress past that initial buy-in, right? You need a leader and a manager to get real buy-in, two different concepts, both essential to create success. Leader is a visionary, your manager is the integrator for those that are in the EOS system.
And I would say 2 years ago, the turnover rate was much greater across the board. Doesn't matter if they're new or they've been here for 6 months or even a year. The turnover, the people turned over much faster than the people that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
They're here, they're seeing they're seeing it, and they want to be part of the program that we're building.
Would you say that you have a better track record now?
Yes.
you say it's easier to see your proven track record now versus 2 years ago?
Yeah, 100%. And even still, like, we recently had to let someone go because she did not fit into this. She'd been with us since July, but we had tried and tried and tried and talked to her about where we're going and what we expect of our team members. And she just could not fit into the mold of the team that we want.
Right.
And we had to let her go. And that's the way, like, to be able to actually do something like that versus having to, in the past, you have to just put up with dreariness and despair until they finally left. It's a freeing thing. And the same goes for clients, like with the buy-in, the vision, and the systems and processes that we've put in place. We've also put processes in place to keep my team members happy, and that includes having companies that don't break the law, that are legit,
Weird how that works.
that actually take care of their customers, that actually take care of my team. And we have fired half a dozen this year, and it's taken a toll on our progression and where we want to be. If we hadn't fired those, I would have definitely met my mark this year. But it was worth it because those are the systems and processes we've been able to put in place. And when I fire them, my team is much happier, which means my team is more likely to stick around longer if I'm taking care of them, which helps with buy-in because they know that I'm there for them and not for the dollar.
So I'm going to tie it back to Tuesday's conversation with Doug, because this is the first part, and we're talking about the second part today. So the first part of this, if you missed Tuesday, this is where Doug was teasing me about adding to a book. They buy into your character. So Andrew bought into your character 3 years ago. They buy into your competence. You had competence, right? You might not have had everything in place, but you did have a level of competence, right? Or people wouldn't have been utilizing your service. They buy into your commitment, which is what you were just talking about. You have a commitment to your team. You have a commitment to the vision. And the fourth one that's not in the book that I added, consistency. You are consistent in your actions, which ties it to process, right? How do you get consistent? How do you create character? How do you create it's consistency. Consistency is what creates the other things. And you get consistency by having systems and processes.
Yeah.
It's like,
And like when you think of it, so we've tried to over time, like we were like, okay, we're not going to build a process for that. The team will just do it because they know they're supposed to do it. And then we find out, oh, nope, another process needs to be built. So literally my team has step by step every single day. These are the things that you're supposed to do. And although like it's a piece of paper they have to tick off, it has created a more consistent team. And like I said, with every little tiny piece that we were like, oh, we've got to do that, and we build it. So far, we haven't made anybody mad, but it will happen eventually. I know that somebody will get mad. But every piece that we made, like even if they're not bought in at first, we're like, here is your laminated piece of paper that you have to check off every single day, and they're like, great. Another thing I have to do. By the end of it, they're okay. Yes, let's do this, because we've learned how to communicate. We're learning how to communicate with them and express why things are done the way they are, and really even keep an eye on the team. Like we have a team member that goes rogue in her thoughts and going a little crazy because she's not happy about something. We just pull her in and we're like, okay, let's talk about it. Why are you not happy about it? And this is why we had to do what we did, or the client had to do what they did. And by the end of it, they're like, okay, cool. Let's get back to work. Okay. What did Andy have to say now? As he's sitting 3 feet away from me, by the way.
He said it's worth noting building processes can be a rabbit hole of complexity. If your processes are too complicated, too bloated, you eliminate the buy-in. And that's very true. And that was kind of the inflammatory statement that I made about, do you really need process and systems in place? Because there is a balancing act in that. You do need some systems and processes to continue to move forward. But if you overcomplicate things,
you have to keep things
boy.
simple. 100%. Joe, it's the 21 irrefutable
laws
21 irrefutable
21.
laws of 21 irrefutable laws of leadership by John Maxwell. And we still have 2 more months because we're basically doing 1 chapter a week, even though the next 2 weeks we're doing 2 chapters.
I stressed Shayna out with that one.
You actually truly don't. But there is one member in the team that only joined because we read 1 chapter a week. So
it's true. EJ.
Anyway, I will fall on my sword, and he has plenty of swords. So I'm just saying, they're here in the office. And say ours grew too complex and too bloated. I spent the last 3 months restructuring our processes.
Yeah,
but sometimes it's a trial and error too. There are, for instance, service industry has been there, and there are companies such as the Service Alliance Group that help provide those systems and processes. You also have to think about, you may have to tweak them, although you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Industry like mine, though, there's nothing out there. And just like, there might be some other things, like little pieces that if you stick your hands in other things besides regular, servicing appliances, you may have to invent the process. But processes have already been built for the service industry: electrical, heating, cooling, appliance. Not as much appliance as heating and cooling and electrical, but they're out there. So companies like yours, the Service Alliance Group,
we make it easy to find it.
Make it easy. Now, if you would just create those for me, so I don't.
Hey now.
Come
on, Andrew. Come and join us.
But like a lot of stuff that we put in place when we started, actually, everything I put in place was everything that I already had in place for my own service company. Unfortunately, that little tiny mold for CSRs didn't work across the board and scalable. And so we've had to, I thought it was easy. I've run a business before. I've handled team members before.
Well, and that's what I want to talk about next, right? Because we're talking about, like, we built these systems, and you need systems and you need processes, and here you have an integrator in your business, and these one-man shops are sitting here going, yep, I'm checking out. I'm off. Goodbye. These guys are talking about stuff that doesn't apply to me. And I'm calling BS on that. And here's why. Because Shayna didn't start out with 16 people. Not at all. Not even close. One. Shayna.
Ta-da!
And then you grew, right? Yeah. Then you had 2.
Well, and so like we had discussed yesterday in the book club, the buy-in, if you learn this process, it doesn't just fit in your business world. The business is just a small piece. Buy-in is also your kids, your spouse, your
community,
people at church, the community. Like, you can actually take this principle, and actually most of the principles that we've learned, and apply it to your entire life.
I'm in a business. I'm not owning.
Yeah. And so business. In your case, you can't just go in and say, okay, this is how we're going to do it today. But you can also, wasn't there an example? I don't have my book in here. Wasn't there an example of someone more like in your instance where, who was it? Maybe I just heard a story yesterday where basically you take your time and you bide your time, and you're just like Andy. Andy didn't start out. You have to build, even if you're not the main guy, build your buy-in, and then start trying to push for these systems to be put in place.
I've taken my time. I've worked on building the buy-in, and as my friend and mentor Dean Lander says, it's us until it's them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a point where it's them.
And we have several of them in our book club. That's the same situation. They're not the head guy, but they're learning how to put these principles in place. And putting these principles in place can help create buy-in so that you can have I'm going to say so. I don't know if say so is the right, but you can offer help in creating the systems and processes to create buy-in.
So, yeah, let's talk about that. Give me a second here. I gotta find it. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Well, anyway, he talks about it in the book. He talks about if you and I've said this before, if you really want to practice these principles, go and practice it in a place where you can't hold it above someone's head. So go to a volunteer organization. That's where I practice a lot of my leadership skills, is in the church that I volunteer at. I practice these same skills that we're talking about and teaching you, because that's where you get the real buy-in. That's where you sharpen your real leadership skills, because guess what? I can't withhold a paycheck of volunteers.
You can't do that in Illinois, period.
Yeah, you can't do that anyway. But in people's minds, they think, well, this guy has my paycheck and that's why I have to follow him. And, no.
Yeah. And then, so now in my instance, and I talked about this yesterday, I won't always be here. Like, they literally, I don't know how many years, I'd have to ask him. He walked out of the room. I had 5 years, maybe even 2 years. They had me pushing the ice cream cart down the aisle. That's going to be my job. And so inside of that, like right now, my team is all in-house. I don't do any virtual. I have 5 layers of leaders. So there's myself, there's Andy. The next layer is Jess and Sierra underneath that. And they're Jess is over all the CSRs. Sierra's over the training team, but she's equivalent to Jess, so she can step in that role and vice versa. I have my team leads. So I have 2 different teams. I have a leader over that, and then I have an assistant team lead. Each of those leaders have to learn how to create their buy-in. So although maybe someone doesn't like the assistant team lead, but they will stick around because they do like the rest of us, that's okay. But on the other hand, if that assistant team lead can't learn how to create buy-in with the team members underneath her, she doesn't deserve to be a team lead, and vice versa. Like, we have to train every single one of these to help create, how do you create that buy-in from the people under you?
He actually talks about that in the book too. A leader having a great vision and a worthy cause is not enough to get people to follow you. You have to become a better leader. You must get people to buy into you. That's the price you have to pay if you want your vision to have a chance of becoming a reality. You can't ignore the law of buy-in to remain a successful leader. You have to become a better leader. Process is a part of that. Systems are a part of that. Character, consistency, all those things. Like, you need all these things to become a better leader. So if you're a one-man shop and you want to grow, begin to put the systems and processes in place now. Begin to create that track record of wins, right? Be consistent in your character, your actions, right? And eventually you're going to inspire people that want to come alongside you. And when they come alongside you, continue the process. It's like a perpetual motion machine, right? Like, once you start this process, it continues to feed itself and continues to feed itself. It's the only perpetual motion that's out there, right? Like, this leadership, it creates leaders.
So going from one man to two, you're like, what process do I need? What system do I need? Write down your step by step of how you run a service call, but then also think about that. Here's the deal. Like, one of the failures that I see when owners add team members is that they don't have those processes in place. Especially, I'm going to hire my friend. He's going to do whatever I say. Those are the worst. I'm just saying. But if you aren't pushing, like in house, if you have House Call Pro, if you aren't pushing the on my way, the start, the stop button, your team members aren't going to do that. If you're not pushing the invoice number, your team members aren't doing that. If you aren't charging your clients what you're worth, your team members definitely are not going to do that. If you don't have your average ticket as an owner above the industry standard, your team member will never even make it to the industry standard. So you have to, as going from, so Jeremy, this is for you too, like, you're talking about adding team members. What are the steps that you do right now? Everything from even like with us, we have, how do you park? How do you walk up to the customer's home? Don't forget to put your shoe booties on. Here's how you knock on the door. And yes, it's tedious and sometimes it's stupid, but on the other hand, you want consistency. You need consistency. And if you don't have it outlined, they're going to start skipping this step. And then they're going to start skipping this step. And then they're going to start skipping this step until you find out later on that they've not been treating your customers the way that your customers deserve to be treated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going through that with my buddy right now. Like, I mean, he's mad that he can't get people to go out and do measures the way that he wants them to do measures. And I said, you haven't even communicated to me the way that you step by step do a measure. How can you expect anyone else? So I'm pushing him into the process. I'm pushing him into, you need to walk through with me step by step by step by step by step so that we can create the process so that can be trainable, repeatable, scalable, right?
So I want to talk about Gaspar's. He said, I'm voting for longer days. 24 hours is not enough, so I can implement all these important steps. The thing is sometimes we look at the picture as too big. Just like if you want to lose weight, you're like, I want to lose 100 pounds. But you don't think about the baby steps that you need to take to get you there. Instead, you're like, I'm going gung-ho. So it's January 1st. I'm going to go gung-ho. I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, an hour each time. And then 2-3 weeks in, you're already burned out. It's not about creating all of the processes right now. Put a goal in place to create one process a month, and then put that on your calendar. Like, take 1 hour a week, take 30 minutes a week. This is time blocked for 30 minutes a week for me to create this process. Because if you don't do that, same as we were talking about to Jeremy the other day, he has this big, huge vision. If you don't create those small steps to get you there, you will never get anything done. And if you do get there, it's going to take you 1,000,000 times longer to get there.
There is a 9 out of 10 chance that if you are the business owner, right, or wanting to be a business owner, you're a pretty high D personality, right? You're type A, whatever you want to call it, whichever
very dominant
methodology, whichever methodology you subscribe to. We have a bad tendency as very dominant personalities and as human beings in general, because it doesn't matter what it is, but it gets amplified if you're a dominant personality to have an all or nothing mindset, which I've said before. Live life in the gray.
I think the other side of that, the majority of America, so we're talking about the DISC profile, which we've talked about several times. D's are dominants. I's are the fun people, so they're not always typically, high I's are not typically the best team members, but you don't find them too often. S's are actually what the majority of America are. And S's are sensitive and caring. They make really good CSRs. They do make good technicians because they care about their customers. So, but as a business owner, if you're an S, which I know that we did
There's a
have some
few.
high S
There's a
owners
few.
in our group, the problem that you can get is that you care so much about the people, your team members, that you give into what they say. Oh, you don't want to do that? Okay, it'll be okay. We don't have to do that. Let's come up with it. Whereas the SD people were like, just do it. And then we have to dial back.
Right. But that was my point, because Jeremy is he's also a high D personality, if I remember correctly. And so like we tend to get, I must do everything or I am doing nothing. That doesn't work. Take just 30 minutes, even 5 minutes, right? So I forget who I was having the conversation with, but it ended up on my Facebook wall. If you spend 5 minutes a day for 365 days a year, right? You got like 30 hours worth of reading in. You're just that much further ahead than the average person in the world, right?
Yeah.
You spend 30 minutes a day, you have like 180 hours, right?
Yep.
You're that much further. So, but the same thing goes for creating your processes. Spend 5 minutes or spend 30 minutes. Just do one thing, one little thing, small chunk. And then tomorrow do a small
Another
chunk.
small chunk.
And then a small
write down
chunk.
one make it a goal to write down one step a day. Don't think that you have to create this massive empire overnight. And even still, like Andy said, we've created these systems and now we're like, ooh, that's too much. Let's back it down. You're going to have to, some of the stuff is out there. And even if you take what is already built, you're going to have to tweak it for you. Systems that may work in your area, may not work in my area, although a lot of the stuff does. Small pieces. I'm reading a book. I don't remember which book it is. It's talking about doing, like, if you want to exercise, you want to start exercising, just exercise for 2 minutes a day. Just read for 2 minutes a day. Read one page a day, because one page a day is still better than no pages a day.
I've shared the example before, talking about, and I honestly forget who said it. I don't know if it was one of my personal coaches or one of the coaches I was reading, but it goes along that route. The guy would drive to the gym every single day, said, I want to work out. But he would put on the workout clothes, like set them out the night before, put on the workout clothes, drive to the gym, and then go home. And that continued for like a week. And then he would go in, kind of wander around and, maybe walk on the treadmill or something, just small, something, and then go home. Until finally he had like an hour and a half workout routine. But it took a while to build to that. Every day he just did a little something that moved him closer to his ultimate end goal, because he knew the ultimate end goal was too big to just tackle right then and there. So he started small and just built that confidence, built that consistency, built that do something. I don't have to do everything. I just have to do something, until he was able to do everything that he wanted to do. Processes and systems are a piecemeal. You start with 7 major processes. Oh, you're going too deep, Andy. You're going too deep. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, buddy. We're not there.
Oh, take a breather, Andy.
We just need people to realize that processes are important for people to buy into you. But the buy-in...
He's over there laughing.
I knew that was going to drive him crazy too. I might understand how Andy's mind works just a little bit. You build through habits. That's where we're going with this, right? Like, you begin to build these habits into your life. You build the habits into your life. People begin to follow you. They begin to follow you. And hopefully you've built these small systems and processes that then you can begin to grow them together, just like Andy and Shayna are doing in the company. They're building out the processes to bring others alongside of them. Good topic. See, I told you we were going to cover your topic.
Oh, we do so many squirrels. It doesn't matter if we have a topic or not. We just hit the entire subject anyways.
It's true. It's true. We do. So that's what we got today. I don't have anything else. What do you got?
Nothing.
Oh, you seem.
Yeah, no, I was excited. It was a good topic.
It
really
was. It's a very good topic.
And I don't know. I feel like it.
2 topics to choose from next week. So
yeah, I feel like as business owners, we try to do too much at one time.
Mm-hmm. That's why I hammer home. It's live life in the gray. Like, stop trying to do all or nothing. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. All or nothing is a terrible mindset to have. It's a mindset that I've had to fight against for so long. And I know I'm not alone in this mindset. That is a majority of it's the way our brains are wired, right? Like that's evolution. You can't get away from the all or nothing unless you practice living life in the gray.
And start living life. That's the other thing I've seen. Create a process to live life. I know, and I still struggle with that. I still want to stay out here until be the first one in, the last one out. And I do get yelled at for that by Andy.
It is a process in and of itself to begin to break those bad habits. So want to thank our sponsors, My Office Help, Shayna. If you need scheduling, your phone's answered, there's a whole realm of stuff that falls under. They are your office assistants. They do an excellent job. We love Shayna and her team. My Office Help. Websites, SEO, your source for anything that goes with that spectrum of things. ITDwebdesign.com.
My
Mr. Mike Carson.
Mike Carson.
Does a great job. Built a lot of great websites. Does a lot of great SEO work. A good guy to call. And finally, TMM Academics. Brother B, Brandon Lucerno, and his team down there at TMM Academics. They are a great group of people. Reach out to them if you need some technical training. He is one of the best out there as far as technical training goes. So that is what we got. Masterminds are coming. Make sure you reach out to one of us on the Service Alliance. Drop a comment here or something. Send me a Facebook message, whatever. We are building the mastermind groups. They will be ready to roll. We are shooting for the first week of February. I just need to know that you're interested so we can get you the email coming here soon with all the fine details. Coming soon. Masterminds first quarter 2023. If you haven't gotten your ASTI tickets, we have, I don't think it's, oh, yep, there it is. Hey, ASTI promo code MEET23, save $50. Still time to join us down in Texas for ASTI 2023.
And get to meet me and Zach.
You don't get to meet me. You met me a long time ago. We get to hang out, though.
I do. I was talking about them getting to meet.
They get
going, Zach?
I am going. I will be there. And
it's been about 4 years since we've hung out.
It has been. It's been too long. The plan is that the morning grind will be live all week long. Monday is going to be the weird day because most of us are traveling on Monday. But for sure, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll be live from ASTI. It's going to be a good time. Looking forward to it. That's all I got today. Thanks for coming along, Shayna. Thanks for bringing the topic, and hopefully I didn't rile Andy up too much for you today.
And for anybody who loves processes and systems and will be at ASTI, Andy will be there, so you can pick his brain.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
We like Andy.
Anyways.
All right, guys. Have a good day. And EJ, TK, and I think Miss Ward are back tomorrow for Freestyle Friday. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.